Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, this video is going to be an amalgamation of a couple subjects here, so let me just start it out with this quick piece that wraps up the last video. Okay, you might want to get out your pen and paper for this one. We'll see. So a realization that I've really had lately, I've had it for years, but I realized that I need to make it really clear. It's what I've done in the last two videos. I met someone, I pretty much avoid church people in general because they're so ingrained in the lie of the lies about what Jesus teaches that they'll literally make stuff up and say, oh, well, he said that. It's like, where did he say that? And like, yeah, he didn't. So if you just, here's my point. If you just read what Jesus said verbatim, word for word, you'll have a greater understanding versus what the people in the pews next to you said that he said, or, well, what he really meant was this thing over here. And sometimes it's literally the complete opposite of what he actually said. So here's what it is. So essentially, this guy who was representing a church was telling me like, oh, well, there's a limitation to that. And he was talking about how how Jesus was healing people. He's like, oh, well, it's limited. And I looked at him like, what? Like, well, I never heard that before. It's limited. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a couple words, and that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some words that you can write down to pay attention to. You'll begin to see a person's character really fast. And you'll be like, yeah, I don't want to be around this. Alright, the music's going to go down in about 3 seconds. Alright, so when he started using words like limited and limitations, he was, okay, you got to understand I'm trained in this stuff, but I've shared so much with you guys. Okay, the logical brain is the negation brain. It literally minuses thing, it subtracts thing. It's the takeaway brain, okay? So the right brain is the addition brain. 1 plus 1 equals 2. The left brain is 1 minus 1 equals 0. So when you're around people using the left brain, you feel drained. You feel like exhausted. You feel controlled. Because you feel like they're taking away from you. Now the left brain is the either or processor. It's either A or B. There's no other possibility. So if you're right, that in their world that means they're wrong. Thus they have to prove to you that you're wrong. And they'll generalize things, they'll make stuff up, they'll delete things, it's delete, distort, and generalize. And remember, the left brain is the in-the-box thinking brain. So in their world, anything that's not inside their box is not reality. They think that their box is all of reality of all the existent universes and the entire universal, whatever you want to call it. Now remember, the left brain is the focus brain. It's like a microscope. It focuses on the very finite, very tiny and small, microscopic, which is why that word is used, microscopic, like molecules, atoms, and electrons. So it's focused on very small things. And because they're so stuck in that brain, they think, well, this is reality. That's not even a trillionth of 1% of a trillionth of what is in existence. And they're trying to convince you and me, this is reality. This is all of reality. No, it's not. That's a microscopic view of reality, of a microscopic piece of reality. Now mind you, the logical brain is the limitation brain. The right brain is the expansive brain, the unlimited brain. Alright, so I'm going to give you some words that'll help you see the difference, okay? So it's really quick, and then we'll go on to the next piece of this video. So people that are in the negation brain, they will use words like no, like write this down. No, not, can't, won't, shan't, but, etc. Stuff like that. And here's the deal, they're very frustrated people because it's like they're at the tip of inside the tip of a V, and all the energy is concentrated and they're really focused all the time, and they can't let go, they can't relax because they don't realize, see, what they're doing is they're pushing into the tip of the V, making it more and more contract and more compact, smaller and smaller, and their energy can't breathe. So the more they do this, the more of a hothead they're going to be. Okay, they get very frustrated. They're very forceful. Okay, I'm actually using forceful energy right now on purpose to give you an emotional, physical experience of it. So the words that you use are no, not, can't, any negation word, okay, including words like limit or limited, or there's limits to this. Like they're because they're in the limited mind, and they filter and process everything through this filter of limitation and negation, which cuts out 99.6 or 7% of reality. And therefore they see this very small portion of reality, and they're like, well, this is reality, that's all there is. It's like, no, that's not true at all. So any negation word that is an equivalent to the word no, not, can't, won't, shan't, and the word but is a very negative word. It's literally, what that word does is it minuses, or I should say subtracts, everything that is said before it. So essentially, this is how one of the ways you'll know when someone's bullshitting you. Their unconscious mind is doing this, because people are always expressing themselves and communicating what they're thinking to you, even if they try to hide it. So if someone says, oh, I love you, but I want you to do the dishes. They literally said, I love you. No, I don't. Do the dishes. So it's like you negate everything that's said before. It's as if it was never even said. It's a minus sign. So here's the deal. If you talk to someone and every sentence they use a negation, no, not, can't, won't, shan't, but, I would get away, because it's going to tighten your forehead, it's going to close you down out of your right brain, etc., etc. Now, here's what you want to look for. You want to look for people who use addition language. It's anything equivalent to 1 + 1 = 2 or 1 + 2 = 3. This is the addition. See, here's the thing. When you're using the addition language, you're adding to people's conversation. You're adding to the very person themselves. So when you say, if someone says blah, 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 and you say, oh, yeah, and... So yeah is positive, and is positive. Okay, it literally means the plus word. 1 and 1 = 2. So if you go to algebra, 1 or 2 times 2 = 4. Here's a better one. 2 times 3 = 6, but 2 and 3 = 5. Do you see the difference? One is a plus sign, one is a multiplication. They are both addition words. They're adding or multiplying, and that's what you're looking for. So these people will say yes, of course, and plus, both, more. They're always adding, and they use the word in addition to. Now let's compare that to limited, limiting. Someone who's in the positive brain will say in addition to what you said, or in addition to, and they'll use the word in addition. Now write my mantra down. It's and both, plus and more. So listen closely. I say and, so there's 2 ands. People are like, well, why would there be 2? Because you're saying and plus this. So it's and then the A and D, and I use the ampersand symbol. Here, let me put it up here. So and both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. And both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. Now take a deep breath. And in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. And in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. If you say this mantra just for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, you will feel a lot better. Especially if about every third one you take a deep breath in your nose. And you say it again. And in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. And in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. So anytime people are saying and, yes, or both, plus, more, and here's another word, of course, sure, absolutely, I can, I will, I am, you can, right? So stop this and rewrite all those, or write those words down. This is a really simple and really easy way to get yourself in a good mood. See, when you're in a pissy mood, it's because you're in that negation, and you begin to filter everything through negation. But if you I say right there, just by saying negation 3 times, I use the word but. See, it's easy to get sucked into that part of your brain. Okay, but it's all okay. I used the word but again. It's also easy to get into the other part of your brain. So notice how I had to stop myself and say it's. So that word or phrase is it is. So that's in addition language. That's addition word. It is. I am. You can. We will. So write it down. Write down it is, or the word it's. So when I went to Tony Robbins seminars, I noticed that whenever we would take a break for lunch for an hour, hour and a half, we'd walk in the restaurant and you could see like, whoa, like the energy was dense. It was just quiet, kind of negative. But when a group of us, 3, 4, 5, 10 people would walk into the restaurant from the seminar, the energy would just massively shift. And we didn't do anything. We're just like, whoa, like we noticed like, wow, this is, because as we were walking in, we'd even say like, whoa, is it me? It's kind of dark in here, like the energy, and like, yeah. Now, mind you, Tony Robbins, especially back then, we weren't talking about energy or energy healing at all. But you could see and feel the energy in the room or the restaurant was not exactly positive. Here's the interesting thing. Literally seconds to 30 seconds after we walked into the room, it was like this energy of positivity went all the way across the room. All of a sudden, everyone in the room, the people that were there an hour before us, suddenly started to talk faster. They started to sit upright. They started to be more positive in their languaging. And I remember, I think it was the second or the third Tony Robbins seminar, I was like, what is it about? We go to a Tony Robbins seminar and then we go out in public and all of a sudden you notice how people around you shift. Like what is this? So I noticed that whenever I'd go to a Tony Robbins seminar that night after, I would just be positive completely and I'd read books and getting things done. That's the thing, get a lot of stuff done. And I noticed when I went to this one seminar, it was when we started doing you stand up, you clap your hands really fast, you go, yes, 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 just like 15, 20 times, whoa, yes, and you clap your hands together really hard, and you sit down. And he would have us do this every 30 minutes or so, maybe 45 minutes. And I tell you what, after you say the word yes 15 times, 5 times a day, you feel, and you're saying it with a lot of energy and a lot of volume and impact, you feel really good, and you're clapping your hands, and that has a neurological, physiological effect on your body. And I thought, that's what it is. Because after you go to like a 3-day or 5-day Tony Robbins seminar, when you come home, you are getting more stuff done in the next 2 or 3 months than you've ever done in probably your lifetime. You read, you study, you get things done, you're on top of things. So I remember going, how can I recreate that without having to spend $1,000 or whatever it was to go to a Tony Robbins seminar? I read his book over and over. I bought his home study course. I listened to that over and over. And I realized what it was. It was like I made it, because I started out with yes, 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 yes. And then I realized the languaging of and both, plus and more. Yes, yes, yes. I was listening to someone that had a really good feeling, and I noticed they were saying and, both, plus, more, yes, of course, I can, I will, let's do it, this is, it is. And I started to write all, like this right here, the last 15 seconds, write all those words down and just say them over and over. Now here's my secret. Pepper those words into your sentences when you're talking to people. Write it down on 1 or 2 3x5 cards, keep it in your back pocket, pull it out and just say, okay, I'm going to use the word and, plus, both, and more. And I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to say it is, and I can. And pepper those into your sentences. See, you can replace words. Like the number one thing you have to do is replace the word but with the word and. It fits perfectly every time. In the beginning, it seems awkward because you're so used to saying but, which brings you down. It seems weird when you say, well, this, and you say the word and in replacement. You say, yeah, well, I like you, but I really want more money. You can say, I like you and I want more money. It's flawless. It's fluid. I just did something unconsciously. It's flawless. It's fluid. I never use those words. Now there's the word never. That's a negation, okay? So my point is you start to speak in this more fluid, natural, healthy language that makes people feel better. And you'll notice people breathe deeper, like, and they relax a little bit more, and they kind of slow down, they listen closely, and they're more in tune with you, they're more engaged in the conversation simply by using and both, plus and more, yes, it is, I can, I am, you and me, both together, plus more. All of a sudden, conversations become clearer, they become easier to understand, and people start to get along a lot better. Another way you can replace a word is anytime you use negation, let's say like, I don't understand you. Instead of saying, I don't understand you, you could say something like, could you repeat yourself so I can understand you better? See how that's more fluid, how it flows, how it feels better? Number 1, write the words down. put them on a 3x5 card or 2 of them and carry them around and just pepper them into your conversation. I promise you it'll become natural. Here's another thing. You're really not wanting to memorize the words. It's more like, I realized what Tony was doing was he was conditioning us to be in a certain state of mind, in a certain emotional place or space in our brain, and then we would do it unconsciously without even knowing that we're being positive. So the mantra, and in both plus and more, yes, yes, yes. And in both plus and more, yes, yes, yes. If you do that and breathe deep every 2 or 3 times you say that phrase, all of a sudden you start to feel better. And what I began to notice is unconsciously I would talk to people in more positive language. In other words, I wasn't logically remembering and thinking, it just came out automatically in that way. Now that's another word. The word now is a very positive word, so write that word down. Now what I began to notice was this mantra was the one mantra I could do that actually worked. Because it's not a matter of I've got to be rich, make more money, wealth and success. It's more like this is just shifting you over to a different part of your brain to where unconsciously, naturally you would speak in a certain way that would be very positive emotionally for your neurology, your emotions and your feelings, and for anyone that's engaging with you. A lot of you that find that you like my channel, this is one of the main reasons why you like listening to me when I talk. Okay, now let's get to the purpose of this video. Even the word purpose, use that word a lot more. So the purpose of this video is to talk about how similar the sign of the astrology sign Cancer and avoidance are. It's like, wait a minute, those are the same traits. So wait a minute, are they an avoidant or are they a Cancer? Okay. One of the biggest mistakes I think a lot of people experience is when they go through narcissist abuse and they learn about narcissist abuse, they see these red flags in everybody and they start to label everyone as a narcissist. Well, that's actually a natural occurrence. Don't be harsh on yourself and just realize, like, okay, so the more you learn and the more you experience when you're waking up to this, you kind of relax a little bit and you breathe, like, yeah, technically that might be a narcissistic red flag, but they don't have all the other ones and they only do it once in a great while, whereas a narcissist, like, hey, they got all the flags. They take you through the cycle from love bombing to hoovering and back again, all that stuff. So there is a difference. So I sent a message to someone on this channel that was responding, and I don't remember your name right now, or your channel name. And I said, be careful not to label innocent people as monsters. And that's, I think, that one of the things you got to be careful about, especially with avoidance. Like, one of the things you said was, oh, they're avoidant with Machiavellian whatever. No, that's not true. There's Machiavellian people that have avoidant tendencies. It's not the other way around. So if you listen to that video, I was comparing narcissists to avoidance because they use similar tactics, but the difference is narcissist and or Machiavellian people, they're trying to trick you, they're trying to trap you, where an avoidant is trying to protect themselves and get out of a situation, like have an excuse, like, oh, well, you're not good enough, or you did these bad things, and they're doing it so they say, hey, this is why I'm not going to see you anymore. It's not the real reason. The real reason is they're scared. They get really scared when they get close to people. So be very careful not to label good people whose hearts, who, number one, have a heart, number two, who've been hurt and damaged by mean people such as narcissist, Machiavellian people, etc., the dark triad, and go, oh, you're one of them. No, they are not. They absolutely are not one of them. Now, are they toxic? Do they use toxic behavior? Yes, they do. But do they do it to hurt you and attack you? No. They do it to defend, like a prey running away from a predator. Avoidants tend to blend everyone together. It's not necessarily that they blend you together. It's pretty much anyone who gets close to them, they're like, I can't do this. They can do it for a short period of time, and then they got to bail, they got to run, they got to avoid. And they'll use different tactics to protect themselves, to find a way, like, hey, here's a good reason to get out of this relationship. It's not what they're saying about you. It's not what they're doing. It's the fact that their avoidance avoid intimacy. Alright, now I googled a couple things here, and there was a YouTube video that I found. I'm going to give you a comparison. These are all three separate things that sound exactly the same. And it's about avoidance, or they sound exactly like avoidant, but two of them are not. Okay, so let's go to what I found on Google. Astrological texts often associate Cancers with a tendency towards being anxious, preoccupied in their attachment style, not avoidant. However, this doesn't mean they don't exhibit some avoidant behaviors, especially when it comes to conflict. Here's why you might perceive a Cancer as an avoidant. Fear of abandonment, ruled by the moon, a planet associated with emotions and intuition. Cancers are deeply value emotional closeness and fear abandonment. And then it says leading to an anxious tendency in relationships. All of that sounds like an avoidant. It's what avoidants do. Now here's the thing, the person that I was dating actually was both an avoidant and a Cancer. So now I'm going, wait a minute, maybe she wasn't avoidant, maybe she was just a Cancer. Okay, so now look what it says right after that. Conflict aversion. Cancers generally dislike conflict and confrontation, just like avoidance. And guess what? One of the first things she said in one of the first real conversations is, I don't like to argue. I don't like to get into intense conversations, confrontations, or conflict. And like, here I am reading it. So it's funny because that's also an avoidant thing. The next thing, retreating into their shell. When faced with difficult emotions or perceived threats to their emotional security, they might retreat into their shell, avoiding difficult conversations and confrontations. Sounds exactly like an avoidant. Passive-aggressive behavior. Instead of direct confrontation, they might resort to passive-aggressive behavior or walking at an angle to express their displeasure. Meaning be indirect, etc. So again, this is everything that I've heard about. Yep, that's what avoidants do. That's what avoidants do. So what I'm trying to say is you have to be careful to label, oh, well, they're a narcissist or avoidance or narcissist. No, they are not. You have to be really careful because that would be just a cruel thing to do. Okay, so Casey, at one point you said on one of my videos, I think it was the avoidance behavior is toxic and or avoidance are not narcissist. I could tell by your energy and behind the words there's a real darkness there. And right away I knew before you even finished your first sentence, you're not talking about avoidance, you were talking about people that are part of the dark triad, which avoidants are not. They get confused, but they are not part of the dark triad because Narcissist, Machiavellian, and psychopaths, there's nothing but darkness inside. Inside avoidance, there's a beautiful, beautiful light. They have a lot of love, they have a beautiful light, but they're hurt and they're scared to open up. So they cover it up and they surround it with like a thick steel kind of covering. So they can appear that way if you misunderstand them. And here's what I mean. Okay, so here's what it says. I googled, are avoidance part of the dark triad? It says, while not explicitly a part of the dark triad, which means no, avoidant attachment is often linked, in other words connected because it seems similar, so linked with dark triad traits. Individuals with avoidant attachment styles tend to be uncomfortable with intimacy and closeness, similar to how people with the dark triad personalities, Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy might avoid close relationships. So there's a similarity because not only do avoidants avoid intimacy and closeness, all three of the people in the dark triad, they're very much about avoiding close relationships. They don't like to get close to people emotionally, okay? So you're going, oh, okay, well, this is the same thing. No, it's not. It does not mean just because a frog jumps and a rabbit jumps does not make both a rabbit and a frog. They're two totally different beings. Okay? Avoidant attachment. This style is characterized by discomfort with intimacy and a tendency to avoid close relationships. People with avoidant attachment often value independence and self-reliance, sometimes at the expense of emotional connection. The dark triad. This refers to a cluster of three negative personalities traits: Machiavellianism, manipulativeness, narcissism, excessive self-love, and need for admiration, and psychopathy, lack of empathy and remorse. Now you have to understand, avoidants are not manipulative. If they're manipulative, it's because they're not trying to control you, they're trying to escape you, okay? Whereas Machiavellianism, they're trying to control you, they're trying to trap you. Same thing with the narcissist. So in narcissism, excessive love and need for admiration. Guess what? Avoidants don't need admiration. They want to get away. Whereas a narcissist, they want you to come around. They want to be with you as much as possible. They want you to say good things about them because they need that admiration. Avoidants don't do that. Complete difference, okay? So psychopathy is lack of empathy and remorse. In other words, they don't have remorse. Avoidants have massive remorse. Avoidants feel empathy all the time. This is why they avoid. This is why they don't want to get into a relationship. They don't want to get close to people because they don't want to hurt anyone. Do you see the difference? The dark triad wants to hurt you. They want you to make them feel good. And avoidant is like, I'm out of here. There's a complete difference. It's the emotional pain due to too much empathy that they're trying to avoid. Whereas narcissists, people that are psychopaths, Machiavellianism, they don't have that problem. Now let's go on to the next thing it says here. It says link between the two. Now link does not mean that they're connected to it. It means that people will connect them together even though they're not together. Now listen closely. Research suggests that individuals with the dark triad traits are more likely to exhibit avoidant attachment patterns. This is because those with dark triad traits may have difficulty forming secure attachments due to their tendency to be manipulative, lack of empathy, and prioritize their own needs over others, meaning selfishness. So understand, it is the dark triads that are exhibiting avoidant attachment patterns, not the other way around. So you were dealing with someone who was a Machiavellian, part of the dark triad, who was doing avoidant. See, narcissists do avoidant tactics all the time because when people start to figure them out, they kind of pull out. Oh shit, do they know? And they pull away from you. Another one is it's a technique they use to purposely get you to chase them. Where an avoidant isn't doing that. They're out of there. Now, I came across the video, just happened to open up YouTube, and it was a title that really kind of pissed me off, and all the men's in this comment section were very, very mad. It says, let me see if I can find it again. Where did it go? Hold on. If she loves you, she will ignore you. And then this lady goes on and on talking about if a woman loves you, she's going to test you. Now, right there's men making comments, screw that, blah, blah, blah. I'm sick and tired of getting tested by women, blah. And then she says one of the tests is they'll avoid you to see how you react and see if you're going to pass the test. Well, this infuriates men. By the way, I'm going to make a video on this subject because there's actually a positive reason why women are doing this. I know it sounds funny after what I just said, but the entire board here is men are just pissed off. Like, you know what I do? I don't talk to them anymore. I leave. I'm done. And so, even as a male myself, I don't like it either. So when women do this avoidant, it goes silent. Now, here's the funny thing. That sounds exactly like avoidant. It's also something that narcissists and everyone in the dark triad do. It's like, well, wait a minute. So what's going on here? This one is saying, well, women do this on purpose. This one says, well, avoidants do this. And now this category says, oh, this is what the dark triad does. So which is it? It's all. The difference is the intention, and that's what I'm trying to emphasize. And if I could use one word to go back to the beginning of this video, is intention. An avoidance intention is to protect themselves. It is not to attack, hurt, and gang stalk you. They don't do any of those things. A narcissist or anyone in the dark triad, they do. Their intention is to hurt you because it makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel good. Now, when a woman is testing a man and avoiding him and doing the, I call it radio silence, where you don't hear from him for a week or longer, they're doing it to see if you're going to freak out, if you're going to panic, if you're going to act like a little boy, or if you're going to be like, okay, well, whatever, I've got a life, so if you don't want to be with me, that's fine. If you do, great. And they move on. They're testing to see if you're emotionally grounded, to see what will this guy be like when things happen in the relationship. He loses his job or something bad happens. Is he going to panic? Is he going to freak out? Or is he going to stay calm? Is he going to stay grounded? In the next video, I'm going to talk about why women do this. It's actually a form of flirting. It's a form of seduction, and it's something that men completely miss. Man, if you want to learn more about this, buy my book, Crack the Female Code, at MikeKollin.com or CrackTheFemaleCode.com. That book will change your life. Alright, that's it for this video. If you like this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And as always, you can go ahead and make a donation. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.